When I tell people that I am a lesbian trans man, one of the most common arguments I get against my identity is that if I was just trans masculine or just non-binary, that would be okay.
Trans men that identify as lesbians. It is 2026. What in the hell? I have never in my 29, almost 30 years now, heard of some crazy shit like this. And there's quite a bit being talked about, but there's some obvious things that are not being mentioned, and you know I'm going to mention them because what do they deal with? Facts and stats. Welcome back, fellas. Man Making Motives. Let's get into it. All right. So the main thing here that you would think would be a hard stop and would be obvious is lesbians are women who like women, that are proud to be women, that identify as women, who love women.
If you with me and you discover when you with me that you no longer want to be a stud, you want to be a trans man, you need to go ahead and let me know as soon as you come across that damn discovery, because I don't want to be with a man. I don't want to be with a trans man. And it's no disrespect to y'all. I want to be with a woman. That's what the fuck I want. Thank you. I'm speaking from experience when I say this.
The movement is about women's empowerment, strength. Women, loving women in all different types and shapes and sizes, from masculine to feminine, lipstick to motorcycle to stud to femme, all women. Masculine does not make man. Trans men, exact opposite, to the point where we take a hormone that erases everything a lesbian would be proud of. We have surgeries that are extremely invasive, extremely painful, and we proudly undergo these surgeries in order to erase the very thing that defines lesbians. Yet here we are. We have this generation saying that they are trans men and they are lesbians. No, you're not. No, you're not. And I'm going to tell you why. What you are is lost. And I can say that with 100% certainty. First, our brains are not wired the same way that a woman's brain is wired. The Journal of Sexual Medicine has tons of studies that have been published that examines neurobiology of transgender people based on research from 2 decades ago. Our neurobiology aligns with the neurobiology of the genders that we identify with, much more so than that of our birth gender. That has been proven. That is why the word transsexual was an actual word, not transgender. Our brains, as in FTM, trans men, align with the brains of cisgendered men before we transition. Because all of these studies that were done pre-transition to prove that hormones were not the driving factor. Once HRT is introduced into the mix, we only become that much more of a man mentally. The outside, we're making that match up with what's already in here. And what I've watched in these videos, a lot of you are not that. Because if you were, the last thing you would identify with is a lesbian. Usually, we didn't fit into the lesbian groups because we couldn't identify with the woman's empowerment. Not that we don't love women, not that we don't think women are powerful, but we also don't hate men. That's another point. We have uncles, fathers, idols that we look to that are male. Men who we model ourselves after, just like young boys do when they're going through their journey into manhood. We do not look to powerful, strong, you go girl women for that. Because our day-to-day journey is not going to be their day-to-day journey. They can't give me advice on male spaces and how to deal with certain male things. Because they're women. The mental changes that come with HRT alone takes you out of the lesbian mix. The aggression, the emotional ups and downs, the more narrow range of emotions, the further along you are on TRT. If you're doing your journey the right way and you're not overrun by estradiol and progesterone, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Your emotions become a very narrow window. Part of the reason why lesbians usually don't date trans men, some, because we are not as emotional as time goes on. Our skin doesn't feel the same. Our bodies don't feel the same. We don't want to be touched in a female way.
And you're in a lesbian relationship is the fact that when you transition, they still try to touch on you like a woman. And that was one of my biggest pet peeves when I first started transitioning, is that I felt like, you know, my partner at the time was still touching on me as a woman rather than viewing me as a man. And that's something that I just could never connect with.
There are so many reasons why you wouldn't identify as a lesbian being a trans man other than the hard stop obvious. But I'm going to keep going anyway. A lot of trans guys in this community are lonely. That's the problem. The loneliness will lead you to do stupid shit like this. But I don't even think this is about loneliness. I think this has to do more with not knowing who you are. Because if you know who you are and you truly identify with the word that you're using, then the last thing that you want to be called is a girl. That is like, it's not an insult. It's just not you. So when I see people walk around and they parade this way, I know it can't be anything except for you don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. We've seen this happen before with people that were claiming to be a trans woman that weren't trans women. And then they ended up making spaces designed for all women unsafe. They made trans women a target for, you know, being PDF files and all these things. Now we have cisgender men that are joining this whole Delulu clique, and they're saying, yes, we identify spiritually as lesbians. Okay. Now you've made things for cisgender women unsafe once again. See, it's the same kind of brain that does this. It's that selfish, insecure, I need to belong to something brain. Stop jumping on the train. You're fucking it up for everyone. But it is obvious that you don't identify the way that transgender men identify, because if you step into our spaces with us who are truly trans men, you will not be comfortable. And that's how you know that the internet is what has made this a comfort space for these people. Because in real life, you don't dwell where we do. And dating has absolutely nothing to do with the man that we are, except who we're attracted to is who we're going to choose. But who we're attracted to does not define whether or not we are a trans man. That's known before anything else comes into the picture. So can trans men identify as lesbians? Hell no. You can't. And you can say in the comments all you want. Oh, yes, I can. Well, you're an oxymoron. Literally. There are so many other reasons besides the gender brain facts, besides the fact that you guys are making these spaces for cisgendered women unsafe, but you are showing how much you don't know who you are. A lot of people that are in this gender fluid, under this gender fluid umbrella, think that the look, the shock value look works. It doesn't, because that's not what we go for. Once again, we are not here to cosplay. And you people that keep cosplaying, you're doing a horrible job, because we're going to call you out at every fucking turn. I appreciate you guys listening. If you're looking for the sources, it's the National Library of Medicine is one, and the Journal of Sexual Medicine is the other. All you have to look up are studies on transgender brains, transgender and cisgender brains. There are quite a few studies. You'll find the information pretty interesting, and you could use it whenever you need it. Y'all take care. Like, subscribe, share. I'll see you soon.